China is busy developing an answer to the U.S. Air Force's Next Generation Air Dominance Program, or NGAD. According to Gen Mark T. Kelly, the head of Air Combat Command, ACC, Gen Kelly expects that the highly secretive Chinese efforts will yield the same kind of air combat system of systems that the Air Force is pursuing, including a sixth-generation manned fighter jet. As we have explored in the past, the NGAD program is much more than a sixth-gen manned fighter. It's also planned to include collaborative drones to work alongside manned aircraft, plus new weapons, sensors, and communications architecture. The U.S. Air Force wants NGAD to be fielded as real capability before 2030, and the Chinese are keeping pace, Kelly says. Kelly recently addressed the war zone and other members of the media at the Air and Space Forces Association's Air, Space, and Cyber Conference, providing his reflections on future Chinese air combat programs. One of the key takeaways from this is Kelly's belief that China looks at sixth-generation air power, including future manned fighter aircraft, greatly the way we see it. An exponential reduction in signature, exponential acceleration of processing power and sensing. Another key factor is the ability to iterate improvements aided by open mission systems. That iterative approach should allow China to reprogram at the speed of relevance, Kelly contends. Moreover, the ACC boss points to China's existing experience in the iterative development of interconnected families of fighter jets, chiefly its reworkings of the Soviet-designed flanker series. They started with Su-27, morph into Su-30, then their own J-16, and then the Su-35, Kelly said. China became the first export customer for the basics Su-27 in 1992, and by the time it bought the multirole Su-30 MK from Russia in 2000, it had produced Su-27s under license as the J-11 and J-11A before it began developing the homegrown J-11B with multirole capabilities, plus Chinese engines and avionics. This in turn led to the two-seat J-16 that's essentially a Chinese version of the advanced Su-30 MK. In the meantime, the carrier-based Su-33 got the same treatment, emerging as the multirole J-15. Today, the development of successively more advanced versions of the J-15 and J-16 continues, including expansion into the electronic warfare domain. Interestingly, Kelly seemed to suggest a possible reason for China's surprise purchase of a relatively small batch of 24 Su-35s, arguably Russia's most advanced current flanker version. Noting that the Su-35 has 5th-gen avionics and 5th-gen speed despite its otherwise 4th-generation status, Kelly said that its acquisition will make it a little easier when they go off the run to their next fighter, that is to say, to transition from the 5th to the 6th generation. Since Beijing bought the Su-35, there's been much speculation as to why it might have placed the order. Some have suggested China wanted a closer look at the Su-35's thrust vectoring engines, as well as gain insight into one of Russia's frontline assets, its weapons and electronic warfare systems. The Su-35 has been used into similar air combat training, but also for operational long-range escort missions over the South China Sea. As such, a small buy of Su-35s makes a lot of sense for China, both in terms of comparing the latest Russian avionics and weapons with its own technologies, but also for developing highly agile aircraft and related tactics.